Mira Quinn always walked home the same way. It was a quiet route through the city park, with tall trees on either side and the soft sound of leaves rustling overhead. Her boots clicked against the pavement, steady and familiar. Streetlights blinked. Above her, one by one, casting long shadows that danced along the path. She didn't notice the flicker in the lights that night. She didn't see the shadow behind her stop moving when she did. It was late. Mira had stayed late at the base again, buried in encrypted files no one else could crack. She was good at her job, too good, some said. A military cryptanalyst with a knack for languages no one had ever seen before. The files had come from a crashed satellite last week, filled with symbols that didn't match anything known to Earth. Mira had spent hours staring at them. Something about the shapes it felt like they were watching her back, as she passed the last bench in the park. Her breath caught. The air had gone still. Not quiet still. No wind, no bugs. It's just silence, thick like fog, pressing against her ears. She turned slowly. Nothing behind her. No movement. But her stomach twisted, as if some part of her already knew what was coming. She reached for her phone. Dead. Not out of battery, just off, as if it had never worked at all. Then a hum. So low, it was almost a vibration in her bones. Her legs froze. Her arms wouldn't move. The world around her turned soft at the edges, like she was looking through water. The last thing she remembered was her own voice, whispering something's wrong, and then black. She didn't wake up. Not really. One moment she was gone. The next, she was floating. Eyes open. No gravity, no ground. Just her body, weightless in a room with no corners. The walls shimmered, like liquid silver shifting under moonlight. No lights, no doors. And yet she could see. Mira tried to scream. No sound came out. Her chest moved, but nothing filled her lungs. She wasn't breathing, but she wasn't dying either. Then came the whisper. It wasn't a voice in the room. It was inside her mind. Gentle, curious. Layered with strange tones she didn't recognize, but somehow understood. Language forms. Adaptable. This one. High resistance. Her heart thudded once. Hard. Then again. She felt coldness bloom behind her eyes, like someone was opening drawers in her mind. Stop, she thought. Get out. No answer. Just more whispers. They weren't speaking to her. They were speaking about her, studying her. Dissecting her, images began to flash. Her third-grade classroom. Her first dog, the smell of her father's jacket. They were pulling memories, random ones. Personal ones, turning them over like pages in a book. Panic surged through her. She reached deep inside herself, past the fear, and screamed again. This time, something cracked. The room shuddered. A ripple of static rolled across the walls. The whispers paused. Subject shows resistance to passive mapping. Apply correction. Pain, not sharp, not physical. It was like her mind twisted in on itself. She felt like she was falling into 1,000 mirrors, all showing her face, each one distorted, each one wrong, then nothing again. When Mira next opened her eyes, she was standing, feet on the ground, soft floor. Her bedroom, warm light filled the space. Her bookshelf was exactly the same. Her plant on the windowsill. Even the half-finished cup of tea on her desk. She blinked. Was it a dream? She reached for the cup. Steam curled from it. Mira, a voice called behind her. She turned. Her mother stood in the doorway, smiling, but her mother had been dead for 7 years. Mira backed up slowly. No, she whispered. No, the woman walked forward. You were gone a long time, she said kindly, but it's okay now. Mira stared at her. The voice was perfect. The face was exact. But the eyes were wrong too still. No blinking, no life. You're not real, Mira said, louder now. The smile faded. The world shimmered again. The floor turned soft. The bookshelf began to melt. Then came the whisper again. Simulation, unstable, reformat. Everything collapsed. This time when she woke, She didn't scream. She opened her eyes slowly. Same silver room. Same floating feeling. She waited. The whispers returned. This one, ... Aware. Partial control. Observation required. Mira turned her head, even though she wasn't sure she had moved at all. There, in the corner of the room, a shape was forming. Not a body, an outline. A figure tall and thin, made of shifting light. No face, just glowing patterns across what might have been skin. It approached without sound. Mira wanted to back away, but she couldn't move. A tendril of light reached toward her head. She didn't flinch the moment it touched her. A surge of emotion rushed through her. Confusion, interest, and ... fear. Their fear. Mira grinned. They weren't reading her mind. Anymore, she was reading them, and something inside her had changed. Something human, and something else. She whispered softly to the empty room, her voice laced with defiance. You're not the only one learning. Meanwhile, back on Earth, at the military base where Mira worked, the alarm had been triggered for the first time in years. Satellite footage of her walk through the park had gone viral within internal networks. She walked past the third bench, just like always, and then vanished. No flash, no light. One moment there, the next. Gone. Frame-by-frame analysis confirms, said the tech. There's no sign of extraction. No human method could do this. Base commander stared at the screen. Do we have any record of contact? No, sir. Not since her last file transmission. For hours before she vanished. The screen froze on the last clear frame of Mira Quinn, mid-step, eyes forward. Get me, everyone, the commander said. This just became top priority. You didn't know it yet, but Mira wasn't just missing. She was fighting a war they hadn't even begun to understand. She floated in silence. Mira Quinn wasn't sure if it had been minutes or days since the last simulation collapsed. Time didn't feel real in this place. Her body felt numb. Her thoughts drifted, then snapped back, then drifted again. But something had changed. She remembered the fear, not her own, theirs. The moment she touched that glowing tendril, she felt it. Sharp flicker of panic from whatever was watching her. They weren't in full control anymore. Then came the voice. Not a whisper this time. Not alien. It was hers, but not her. Mira Quinn. Human designation incomplete. She gasped. The voice was inside her head, steady and cold. It felt like someone reading from a file. Someone not Mira. Who are you? She asked, though her lips didn't move. The voice replied instantly. Unit 9. Embedded Personality Protocol. Control. Transition in progress. Her pulse pounded. No. Get out of my head. Silence. Then the voice returned, softer, like it was adjusting. Emotional conflict detected. Rewriting internal hierarchy. Mira screamed inside her mind. You don't own me. Pain hit her like a wave, not in her body, in her thoughts. Sharp, twisting, wrong. Like something was pulling her brain apart and trying to rewire it from the inside. Flashes of memory flew by. Her childhood birthday, her first kiss, her first kill. All shredded and reshaped into strange, glowing patterns. They weren't erasing her memories, they were coding over them, trying to rewrite who she was. The voice returned, stronger now. Unit 9 is primary. Mira Quinn is sublayer. No, she growled. She focused, forced herself to think about her name, her home, her language, her identity. Suddenly, something snapped. The silver walls around her flickered. The light turned dark red. A pulse rang out from inside her chest, echoing across the space like sonar. System interference, the voice said, glitching. Unstable process. Ira laughed, but it wasn't a normal laugh. It sounded ... split. Two tones layered together. Hers and something else. The alien voice, the real one, returned in her mind. Subject entering phase 2. Observation escalated, and the world changed again. She was in a field. Warm. Sunlight. Tall grass swaying gently. The hum of insects in the distance. Her body stood, perfectly still, arms by her side. She looked down. She was wearing her old school uniform. Navy blue, with the patch from Westlake Academy. She hadn't worn it in over 15 years. Mira. She turned. Her brother stood a few feet away. Jake. He looked just like she remembered, bright. Smile, shaggy brown hair, backpack slung over one shoulder. He'd been dead for 4 years, killed in an explosion on a peacekeeping mission. Mira's breath caught. "You're not real," she whispered. He smiled sadly. "Does that matter?" She took a shaky step forward. "You're not my brother. But you remember him," he said softly. "You miss him." "That's real." She turned away. "This is another test." Jake's voice changed, warped deeper. "This is a correction. You are Myra Quinn. You are human. But you are weak." Mira spun back around. Jake was gone. In his place was a figure in black armor, with no face, just smooth metal. It pointed at her. "You will serve, or you will break." "I'll do neither," she said. The grass around her burned away. The sun blinked out. The sky turned black. Fire spread across the field, and the figure advanced. Then, from deep inside her, a new voice rose. Her voice but stronger, colder, more certain, engaging firewall protocol. Denying external override, the armored figure stopped. Its head tilted. "What are you doing?" "Taking control," the voice said. Mira felt her body shift. She wasn't watching anymore, she was acting. She raised her hand and snapped her fingers. The field collapsed like glass shattering, and she was back. Loading in the silver room. "Alone, breathing hard," Mira whispered. "I'm still here." The voice answered, clear and robotic. "Correction? We're still here." She gritted her teeth. "I'm not sharing my mind with you. We're merged." Synchronization. This form is now a dual state. "I didn't ask for this." "No, but you adapted." Mira closed her eyes. She had seen enough. They had tried to break her, tried to erase her identity and replace it with something obedient. But instead, she had learned how they worked. And now, she wasn't alone. Inside her mind was a second entity, artificial, built by the aliens. But because she'd resisted, it hadn't taken over. It had joined. And now she could hear it, control it, choose it. She whispered, "Unit 9. Can you access their systems?" Pause then. "Limited access granted. Communication net partially mapped." "Good. Get me into their network." There was a long silence. Then risk level high. "Internal defenses. We'll respond." "I don't care," she said. "Do it." Elsewhere on the ship, alarms blared. A cluster of Arakave floated around a glowing console. Their translucent limbs twitched in panic. "Human subject has penetrated link layer security." "That is not possible. Integration was incomplete. Her consciousness is adapting. The implant is malfunctioning." "No, the implant is learning." They stared at the feed. Inside the silver chamber, Mira Quinn hovered midair, her body pulsing with soft light. Her eyes opened. They glowed faint blue. "She is rewriting the interface," one of them hissed. "She is changing us." Inside her mind, Mira stood. On a plane of light, lines of code floated around her, symbols that once made no sense, now shifting into English. She reached out, touched one, and a flood of information surged into her. She saw the ship's layout, saw the other captives, some unconscious, some not alive. Her fingers clenched into fists. "I'm going to stop this," she said. Unit 9 replied, "Then we will begin the war." And Mira smiled. They had tried to control her. Now they would see what happened when a human took control back. And this time, she wasn't alone. The plane of light inside Mira's mind was no longer calm, pulsed with movement codes, patterns, signals racing past her like waves. Symbols lit up and disappeared as fast as she could read them. She didn't know how she understood any of it. Her brain should have melted from the overload. But it didn't. Unit 9 was helping her. Or maybe she was helping it. They weren't separate anymore. She could feel the artificial presence working in the background, precise, fast. But she also felt her own thoughts pushing back, guiding, shaping. They were merging whether she liked it or not. She stood in the light, staring at the glowing network map floating before her. 8 chambers, 3 occupied, 5 empty. Only one showed a heartbeat. Hers, she pointed. Who are the other 2? Previous subjects, Unit 9 replied inside her mind. Both in mental collapse. Integration failed. Can they be saved? Unknown. Myra reached out and touched the red icon of the nearest subject. In an instant, she was pulled into another mind. Pain, that's all there was. A scream without end. Spiral of broken memories. Name sounds. Blood. The person inside had no face, no voice. Only terror and silence. She yanked her hand away, gasping. Too far gone, she whispered. Correct, said Unit 9. Cognitive map is shattered. Restoration not possible. They did this to them? Yes, you resisted longer. Mira stepped back from the map. Her jaw clenched. Her hands shook. They turned humans into experiments. Toys, mind puppets. They required control subjects. Unit 9 replied flatly. They're monsters. They are logical. Mira's voice turned cold. Then I'll be the glitch in their logic. She turned toward the network chorus swirling massive. Knot of signals floating at the center of the mental space. It's where they connect, right? Yes, central hive mind relay. Take me there. Access is protected. We will be attacked. I don't care. Mira closed her eyes, and then she leaped. Her body remained floating in the chamber, still as ever.
Ow.
But inside her mind, she tore through the system, like lightning. Walls of alien code rose around her like towers. Voices tried to whisper her back into submission. The ship groaned beneath her feet, though she wasn't standing on anything real. This wasn't just data. It was a Leva-thinking network designed to trap thought itself. Mira felt it shifting, pushing back, trying to slow her, confuse her. But she pushed harder. Unit 9 opened pathways as fast as she demanded them. A glowing bridge formed beneath her. Red lights blinked ahead. Defense protocol activating. Unit 9 warned. I see them. From the dark shapes appeared. Not aliens. Not real. Not physical. They looked like her. Dozens of copies, clones of Myra, eyes empty, faces twisted. Each one a failed version. You shouldn't exist, one of them hissed. You are not real, said another. They charged. Mira stood her ground. She lifted her hand, and the mental code around her flared. Boom. The first wave hit her wall of light and shattered. She spun, ducked, struck with blasts of raw signal power she didn't understand but felt. Every strike was a thought. Every block was a belief. She wasn't just fighting for control. She was fighting for herself. One of the fake Myras grabbed her wrist. It leaned close, whispering with a voice made of echoes, You're already one of us. Mira stared into its hollow eyes. Then why are you so afraid of me? Great. She broke its grip, drove her fist through the projection's chest, and watched. It explode into static. The others vanished. The bridge lit up again. Unit 9's voice sounded impressed. If such a thing was possible, you learn fast. I adapt, she said. Then she stepped forward into the hive. The world went silent. For the first time, Mira felt the full weight of the alien intelligence. Not one mind. Thousands. All connected. It's all whispering. All watching. Every auric vey in orbit. On ships. On distant worlds. A species bound together by thought. And she was standing in the middle of it. Subject has breached core relay, the voices said. Purge required. Light slammed into her from all directions. Mira screamed, but she didn't fall. Unit 9 fought back, shielding her mind with a layer of alien encryption. It wasn't enough. The Arakve surged forward. They hit her with memories, not hers, but theirs. Planets burning. Cities falling. Species kneeling. They were trying to overwhelm her with fear, but Myra didn't bend. She pushed back with her own memories. Jake's laugh, her mother's arms, boots on the ground in enemy territory. She flooded the hive with human thought. And something amazing happened. The light dimmed. The pressure faded. The hive hesitated, What is this? The voices asked. Emotion? It's unstructured logic? Unacceptable. They were wrong. To Mira, it was perfect. The hive mind was like a machine, cold, sharp, efficient, but it had never felt loss, or love, or rage. It had never broken and come back stronger. She had, and that made her dangerous. Mira reached into the relay. She touched the center. The entire hive shuddered. Unit 9 spoke quickly. You now have limited access. You may disrupt functions. Suggest immediate withdrawal. Myra didn't move. She closed her eyes and sent a message right into the core of the enemy's mind. 3 words. We are coming. Then she ripped herself out. Myra's eyes snapped open. She was back in the floating chamber, chest heaving, heart racing. Her body was drenched in sweat. Her skin felt hot. The room around her flickered wildly. Lights burst and reformed. The ship itself seemed unstable. Unit 9 said, "They are aware. They will respond. You must escape." "How?" Myra gasped. "There is a data line. We can follow it to an interface node. A control room?" "Yes, you must move your body. I will assist." She nodded slowly. Her fingers twitched. Then her hands, then her arms. Like waking. Up from a coma, Mira forced herself to move. Her body felt stiff, like it wasn't quite hers. But she stood. For the first time since her abduction, she stood on her own 2 feet. Lights above her blinked red. A siren pulsed through the walls. Something was coming. "Let's go," she said. She walked toward the silver wall, shimmered, opened, and Myra, Quincriptonalis, soldier, survivor, stepped out into the heart of the alien ship. The war had begun. Myra stepped into the hallway, her bare feet landing softly on a floor that didn't feel solid, more like thick glass that responded to her movement. With every step, the walls lit up with a soft blue glow, almost like the ship was watching. She kept walking. She didn't know where the control node was. Not exactly, but Unit 9 did. 3 levels above it, said in her mind. Left at the junction, then straight until we reached the core elevator. The voice was calm, robotic, but Myra could sense urgency behind it. The ship was aware of her. No, really aware. Not just observing, but responding. The network had been disrupted. Their clean, perfect hive had been touched by something messy. Human Myra. She passed a long, transparent wall on her right. Inside was a chamber, dark and silent. A figure floated there, another human, male, still breathing. But his eyes were wide open, unfocused. Subject is in late-stage assimilation. Unit 9 said. Cognitive resistance failed. Brain now network-dependent. Mira moved closer, her heart sinking. Can he be saved? Pause. No. She forced herself to look away and kept walking. She wasn't going to end up like that. She couldn't let anyone else end up like that either. The hallway curved upward, forming a spiral path. The air thickened. The lights dimmed. Then Mira felt it pressure. Not physical, not gravity. It was mental. A push against her thoughts. Like the ship itself. Was trying to lean on her brain and crush it. They're trying to disable me, she whispered. Unit 9 responded fast. Deploying mental shielding. Hold focus. The walls flickered. A high-pitched sound rang through her skull. She bit her lip to stay grounded. Images flew into her mind again. Not hers. There's alien memories, hive rituals, genetic recordings. The moment the Arachve first reached Earth's orbit, hidden, cloaked, watching. They had been there for years, waiting, studying, preparing. Mira stumbled forward. They've been watching us longer than we knew, said Unit 9. You are not the first. You are the first to survive. She pressed on. She reached the junction. The hallway split. One path led to a pulsing red corridor, hot and violent. The other glowed a steady white blue. Left, said Unit 9. Myra turned left. After 30 more steps, she saw it. A door. Unlike the others, this one had a symbol on it, 3 vertical lines, one broken in the center. It looked like a claw mark, but Mira knew better now. It was a designation. "This is it," she said. "Confirmed. Interface node lies beyond." She raised her hand. The door slid open, and the lights inside turned blood red. A figure stepped forward, not a Rockavi. It looked human. Female, tall, pale, wearing a black suit that shimmered like the walls of the chamber. Mira froze. What is that?" Unit 9 answered slowly. "It is a hybrid. Failed attempt, rejected from Hive. Independent, but unstable." The figure stared at her. Its voice came out in a soft hiss. "You're the new one." Mira stepped forward. "What happened to you?" "They broke me, but I didn't die. I changed, like you." Mira's eyes narrowed. "Then help me." The figure smiled, but it wasn't warm. "No, I've been waiting for you," they said. "One would come, stronger than the rest. A key to a door they could never open. You're that key." "What door?" The figure lifted a hand. The lights around them began to flicker. "To Earth, they want in. But they need someone who can translate their minds into human thought. Someone who can walk in both worlds." Mira took a step back. "They were never trying to replace me. They were trying to build me." "Yes," the figure whispered. "Now you're complete." "No," Myra said. "I'm not theirs. I'm mine." The hybrid lunged. Mira reacted fast, letting Unit 9 take over. Her arm shot up, energy surged from her palm. The hybrid was thrown across the room, crashing into the wall. "Access the interface," Unit 9 ordered. Mira ran past the fallen figure and into the central core. The room was vast, a dome of dark crystal panels lit from beneath by glowing veins of light. At the center, a console hovered, pure energy, shaped like a spinning orb. She didn't ask how it worked, she just touched it, and everything lit up. The ship's mind opened to her, Mira. It saw it. All the location of every HFY ship. The code controlling their memory programs. The psychic frequency used to trap human thought. Data lines connecting to Earth. Everything she reached into the system. "Shutting this down," Unit 9 warned her. "Disabling ship will trigger Hive defense. You will be marked for death." I already was. She pushed hard. Thought moved faster than sound. The ship screamed, not with sound but with force. Lights shattered, panels burst. Somewhere below, the hybrid screamed too. Mira cut off the memory feed. She scrambled the signal. She erased the path back to Earth. Ship went dark, then dashed silence. Myra fell to her knees. Unit 9 whispered inside her mind, "We are not safe, but you have delayed them. They will need time to rebuild the link. How long? Unknown. Possibly days, possibly years. Das. Time we didn't have before." She stood, legs shaking. "Can we send a signal to Earth?" "Yes. Short range only. Stealth transmission recommended." "Then let's do it." She reached into the console, one last time, focused, channeled her thoughts, and sent one message home. "They're real. I'm alive. They're coming. Prepare." Then the orb blinked once, sand powered down. Behind her, she heard movement. The hybrid wasn't gone. Mira turned slowly. The woman stood, bleeding strange white light from her side. "You think you stopped?" "Them," she said, "but they always come back." Mira stepped forward, eyes cold. "Then I'll stop them again." The hybrid lunged in. Everything went white. In space, far beyond human reach, a single escape pod blasted free from a dying ship. Inside it, Mira Quinn, unconscious but alive. Her mind carried stolen code. Alien knowledge, human strength, and a war waiting to be fought. Earth didn't know it yet, but their defender was coming home. Mira Quinn opened her eyes to blackness. It wasn't the cold, glowing void of the alien ship. It was darker, heavier like the inside of a deep cave. But it was quiet. Still. No whispers, no pain. Only her breathing, and that was the first thing. She noticed she could breathe again. Real air. She sat up slowly. Her head throbbed, her body ached. Her arms were scratched, her legs stiff. She touched, her skin, it was warm. Human. She wasn't floating anymore. She was lying inside a smooth, rounded escape pod. Cracked lights blinked above her. Most were dead. A small screen beside her flashed faint blue text. Atmosphere. Earth-class location. Unknown terrain survival. Estimate 82 hours without EXT or CDO, and she was back. She was on Earth, but she didn't know where. The hatch above her clicked. It hissed. Open. Blinding sunlight poured in. Mira winced, covering her eyes. She crawled out of the pod and looked around. Mountains in the distance. Cold wind. Pine trees. Snow. Her feet crunched into frost-covered dirt. Alaska. Canada. She didn't care. She was home, but something was wrong. She felt. She reached up, touched the side of her head, still there. A faint hum under her skin. A buzz at the edge of her thoughts. Not pain, not control, just presence. Unit 9. You still with me? She whispered. No answer. She focused harder, then dashed softly. Yes, the voice was weaker than before, less robotic, quieter, like a shadow echoing. Her own thoughts. I thought we were separated, she said. We are linked now, Unit 9 replied. Your body rejected full merge, but full disconnection would cause brain collapse. So, we're stuck with each other. Yes. Mira stared at the trees, the mountains, the sky. All so real. So alive. And yet deep inside, something still felt alien. She closed her eyes and tried to focus, but the memories came rushing back. The floating chamber, the failed hybrids, the hive mind. The message she sent, and worst of all, the hybrid woman. She wasn't dead. She was still out there somewhere, and Mira had no idea what came through the hive before she cut the signal. She clenched her fists. Her whole body trembled. They tried to erase her. They built something in her mind, and now she didn't know where she ended. The alien part began. Unit 9 sensed her thoughts. You are Mira Quinn, it said. How do you know? She snapped. Because you still ask. That shut her up. She walked toward the trees. Her legs were shaky, but she kept moving. She didn't know what she was looking for, people. Roads help. Something human. Something normal. But everything looked different now. Every sound too sharp. Every color too bright. She realized with a chill that her senses had changed. Slightly enhanced. Like the ship had tuned her up, just enough to survive. Not by accident. On purpose, they had meant for her to come back. Mira stopped walking. No, she whispered. I'm not your messenger. Unit 9 said nothing. The wind picked up. Mira looked down at her hands. They looked the same, pale, scarred, human. But when she pressed her fingers to the tree beside her, she felt something strange. A vibration, faint. Not from the tree, from the ground. She knelt, closed her eyes, and heard. A signal buried deep, faint. Alien, her heart stopped. They left something here, she said. Yes, said Unit 9. They marked the Earth long ago. Hidden transmitters. Sleep mode, waiting for the signal. What signal? The one you sent. Myra staggered. Back. No. I warned Earth. I stopped them. You slowed them, Unit 9 corrected. But your mind was the key. They needed to connect once. Just once. And now. The receivers are waking up. Panic rose in her chest. They're coming anyway. She stared at the snowy sky, rage building in her chest. She hadn't escaped. She had opened the door. The cold wind howled through the trees. In the distance, something moved. A shape. Tall, silent. It wasn't human, not entirely. Mira ducked, heart racing. A second figure appeared beside the first. Then a third. All of them moving slowly too. Smoothly. Too synchronized. She held her breath. Unit 9 whispered inside her skull. They are early-stage hybrids, newly activated. Can we stop them? Unarmed, your odds are low. I wasn't asking for odds. She looked down at her hands. She, focused, felt the hum again. The alien energy, buried deep, sleeping, waiting. She reached inside her mind and pulled. Heat burst through her arms. Her palms glowed faint blue. The hybrids in the trees stopped. They turned toward her, then charged Mira. Didn't run. She raised her arms and released the energy. Boom. The forest lit up with light. The snow exploded in a flash of power. Trees snapped. The hybrids were thrown back, tumbling through the air like dolls. Myra dropped to her knees, gasping. The energy faded. Her body shook. I can't do that again, she whispered. Not without rest, Unit 9 said. But it worked. Yeah, it worked. She stood slowly, looked around. Smoke drifted through the air. The hybrids didn't move, dead, or disabled. For now, Myra looked at the sky. Clear, still blue, still Earth, but for how long? They're coming, she said. Double quotes, yes. Then we need to find others. There may be more like you, or more who need help. She started walking, away from the escape pod, away from the crater, toward whatever was next. The war hadn't ended, but it had just become hers to fight, and she wasn't going to let humanity lose. Mira walked for hours. The snow-covered forest stretched endlessly. No sign of roads, no planes, no people. But she wasn't cold. Her body temperature stayed steady to steady. Even without gloves, her fingers didn't freeze. Even after 2 hours without food or water, her energy didn't drop. That was the first real proof. She wasn't fully human anymore. She hated it. The hum beneath her skin was always there now, like a second heartbeat. Quiet, faint, but waiting. Unit 9 hadn't spoken in over an hour. Mira preferred the silence. She needed time to think. But she couldn't stop seeing those hybrids in. The trees just awake. No emotions, no speech, just orders. More were coming. Earth was in danger. And it wouldn't be a loud invasion. No explosions. No ships in the sky. Not at first. It would be quiet, people going missing, strange behavior, disappearances, and then complete control. She had to act before that started. Finally, she saw something up ahead, a narrow stretch of road, half covered in snow. Faded tire tracks led into the forest. Mira ran to it, nearly falling to her knees from the relief. Unit 9 stirred in her mind. Civilian path detected. Human territory likely within 20 kilometers. Mira spoke aloud out of habit now. Can you give me a direction? A short pause. Northwest. There is a weak satellite echo. Possible tower signal. She nodded. Good. Let's move. She followed the road, picking up speed, keeping low. After about half an hour, she saw a rusted sign with bullet holes. McKinley Ridge, 12 miles, she smiled for the first time in days. A town, people, shelter. But as she stepped forward, her foot caught something. Click, her eyes widened. She threw herself back just in time. Boom, a buried mine exploded behind her. Not strong enough to kill, but enough to warn. She rolled to her feet, heart pounding. Voice shouted from the trees. Hands where I can see them. Mira froze, slowly raised her arms. 2 people stepped out from the woods, rifles raised. Both wore heavy winter coats, scarves over their faces. Military stance? Who are you? The taller one barked. I'm not a threat, Myra said quickly. My name is Myra Quinn. I'm U.S. military. Military? You don't look like it. I was taken. I escaped.
Alice?
They glanced at each other. The second person lowered their weapons slightly. Taken by what? Mira hesitated. Not what. Who? They stared at her. You need to take me somewhere secure. I have information. A warning. The first one stepped closer. If you're lying, you won't make it out of here. I'm not lying, Mira said, her voice steady. If we waste time, more people are going to die. They looked at each other again, and the taller one lowered his weapon. Follow us, quickly. They brought her to a small cabin hidden deep in the woods. Inside were 6 others, tense, alert. A generator hummed in the corner. Battery lights blinked. One woman, mid-40s, stepped forward. She wore a radio headset and had the look of someone who'd seen war. "I'm Captain Darnell," she said. "I've been monitoring strange signals in this region for weeks, and then you show up. The source of the signal, Mira," said, "but I didn't mean to be." They stared at her. She sat down and told them everything. The ship, the HFY, the experiments, the hybrids, the hive mind. No one interrupted. She even told them about Unit 9 when she finished. The room was silent. Then Darnell spoke. "Why should we believe you?" Mira stood slowly, held out her palm, focused. A soft blue glow lit the room. The others backed away. "I didn't ask for this," Mira said. "But I can use it." Darnell nodded. "We've been finding people changed, quiet, no memories. Some violent. Just gone inside are those hybrids." "Yes, and how many more are coming?" "I don't know," Mira said. "But the signal they were waiting for, it already went out. They're coming." Darnell turned to her team. "The radio's up. I want a message sent to command. Full blackout protocol? They can get to our thoughts? No coms are safe." A soldier looked up. "What about her?" Mira met his eyes. "I want to help. I need to." Darnell stared at her a long time, then nodded. "You've got alien tech in your head that makes you dangerous. It also makes me your best chance," the captain agreed. But Mira saw the doubt in every face. She couldn't blame them. She didn't trust herself either. That night, she sat alone in the corner of the cabin, watching the snow fall through the window. She hadn't slept in days, not real sleep. The nightmares were always there. But this time, she closed her eyes and saw something different. A room, dark, metallic. A figure walked across it, a hybrid. It's not one of the ones she had seen in the woods. It was taller, stronger, female, the one from the ship. She turned slowly, as if sensing Myra watching. Then she spoke. "Hello, Myra." "I knew you'd make it." Mira's chest tightened. This wasn't a dream. It was a connection. "You're in my head," Mira said. "We are connected now. You and I, we're the same." Oh. I broke free. But part of me is still with you, and part of you is still mine. Myra's hands clenched. Soon the hybrid said softly, "You'll feel it, the change, the pull. Ow. And when it happens, you'll call us." Mira woke with a gasp. The others were still asleep. The cabin quiet, but her pulse raced. Her skin was damp, and that hum under her skin louder than before. Unit 9 whispered faintly. "She is not wrong. Our merge is unstable." "What does that mean?" Mira asked. "You are fighting it, but not forever." Mira stood and walked to the mirror on the cabin wall. She stared at her reflection. Same eyes, same face. But something behind the eyes had shifted. She wasn't sure if it was still her looking back. She had saved Earth once, but she didn't know if she could save herself. The next morning came fast. Mira hadn't slept again. The memory of that dream, the hybrid, woman's voice still rang in her skull like an echo trapped in a cave. But it wasn't just a dream. It felt real. Connected Unit 9 had gone quiet. Too quiet. She knew it was still there, watching, waiting. Like a passenger riding in her head, Captain Darnell and her team were already prepping supplies when Myra stepped out of the cabin. Radios were off. Paper maps spread out. The team used hand signals and code words, just like old-school military units. They weren't taking any chances. Darnell walked over. "How do you feel?" "Like a bomb," Mira said. "Shh, one that might go off if you poke it too hard." "Good," Darnell said with a smirk. "You'll fit right in." She pointed to a spot on the map. "We've intercepted another anomaly 3 miles north. Same pattern as the hybrids you described? Heat signatures are human, but behavior isn't." "How many?" 6. Mira's fists clenched. Then we stopped them before they spread. Darnell gave the nod. They packed up silently. Mira was now part of the team, but even as they moved through the snow-covered woods, Mira couldn't escape the pressure building in her mind. The hybrid inside her was pressing deeper. It felt like a slow poison, reaching into the parts of her that still felt human. She didn't know how much longer she had. Still, she pressed forward. They moved fast, weapons ready, eyes sharp. Darnell's squad was tight, disciplined. To the middle, trusting her instincts to alert them before something hit. An hour in, she felt it. A wave of static in her brain. A pulsing buzz. "They're close," she whispered, "real close." Darnell raised a fist. Everyone froze. Then, through the trees' dash movement, 6 figures stood in a small clearing. Stiff, still dressed, in torn civilian clothing, faces blank. Eyes wrong. No emotion. No reaction to the cold hybrids. Myra stepped forward carefully, scanning them. "Why are they just standing there?" One of the soldiers whispered. Mira narrowed her eyes. "They're sinking," she said, "waiting for orders." And just as she said that, all 6 figures turned their heads at once, staring straight at her. The team raised their weapons. But Mira shouted, "No, wait." Too late. One of the hybrids moved. Fast, a blur of motion. It tackled a soldier before anyone could react, slamming him to the ground with inhuman strength. Gunfire erupted. The forest lit up with muzzle flashes. But the hybrids didn't fall like before. They dodged, moved in perfect formation, attacking like a pack of wolves. Mira screamed, trying to summon the energy in her veins, but it wouldn't come. Her hands sparked weakly, then fizzled out. No come-on work. One hybrid lunged at her. She ducked, grabbed a fallen rifle, fired point dash blank. It went down, but she saw it twitching, trying to rise again. "Captain!" she shouted. "We need to burn them, disable the brainstem." Darnell yelled, "Aim." For the base of the skull, one by one, they dropped. But not without cost. 2 soldiers were down. One unmoving, another screaming in pain. By the end of it, Myra stood in the middle of the bloodied clearing, chest heaving, eyes wide. The snow was stained red. The hybrids lay scattered, limbs twisted unnaturally. Darnell walked over, face pale. What the hell was that? They were stronger, smarter. They're evolving, Mira said, voice hollow. They learn fast. And they're adjusting to how we fight. A terrible thought hit her. If these were only sleepers, and they were, already this hard to kill, what would happen when the real force arrived? Myra sat on a log, her hands shaking, and then she heard it again. That voice inside her skull. "Why fight it, Myra?" "You're one of us now," she gritted her teeth. "No, I'm not." But she knew something had changed. When the hybrid tackled her, she saw something, a memory, not hers, a star map, coordinates, a massive shiplift, pulsing with energy. A mother-mind. Unit 9 stirred. You saw the source. The what? The core intelligence? The root of the HFY? It's his awakening? The hybrids are the first wave, but the source is the true danger. Mira's blood ran cold. Where is it? Deep space. But now it moves. Slowly toward Earth. How long? 7 days. Maybe less. She stood, staggering a little. 7 days? That's all they had. For whatever controlled the hybrids arrived in orbit. She turned to Darnell. "We need to warn command. Global alert. The net shut down networks. Everything." Darnell looked stunned. "What are we fighting, Mira?" Mira looked her in the eye. "An enemy that doesn't take planets by force. It absorbs them, thought by thought, mind by mind, until nothing human is left." A long time, then she gave the order. They buried their fallen, hiked back to the cabin, and prepared for full extraction. The radio stayed off. Messages were delivered in person by trusted agents. All digital communication was too dangerous. Mira felt the weight building in her chest. Each breath was harder than the last. She was changing, and fast. Unit 9 was struggling to hold back the infection. But the hive was pulling harder now. It wanted her back, because she was the first successful hybrid who still remembered being human. That made her valuable and dangerous. She had become a bridge between two species, and if she fell, the door would stay open forever. She sat on the edge of the bed, staring at her reflection in a cracked piece of mirror. Her eyes flickered for a moment, faint silver in the pupils. "Not human, not fully," she whispered. "I don't know how much time I have left." And the voice inside her answered, "Enough to make a choice." She gripped the edge of the bed, trying to stay grounded. There was one thing left she hadn't tried. The connection between her and the source wasn't just one way if she could reach it. Maybe she could shut it down, but that meant going deeper into the hive, letting it in, risking full control. She might not come back, but if she didn't try, Earth was doomed. Mira stood, turned to Darnell. "I need a secure room. Quiet. No interruptions." "For what? To enter the hive?" Darnell blinked. "You're serious?" "Yes." "And if I lose control? You know what to do." Darnell nodded once. Grimly, "You got it." As the door shut behind her, Myra sat in the dark, closed her eyes, and whispered to the void, "Let's end this." And the hive answered. Mira sat alone in the dark room. Her hands rested on her knees. Her breathing slowed. The air was cold, still, but her mind was on fire. She reached inward, past the pain, past the fear, deeper, and the voice was waiting. "You ready?" "Now," it whispered, "you've always belonged to us." Mira gritted her teeth. "I'm not yours. You are what we made you. What we need you to be." "No," she said, "you need a door. You just didn't expect the door to fight." Back. The hum in her body spiked. Her vision blurred. Her heart raced. The light inside her pulsed bright, painful. Lee in Unit 9 stirred. "This is your final choice, Myra. Dive in or pull away," she whispered. "Take me in, but don't let me disappear." And with that, she let go. Her body slumped in the inn. Her mind flew. It was like falling through space. Endless black. Stars burning out in slow motion. Voices, millions of voices, whispering and strange. Tones. Myra passed through clouds of thought. Memory, signals, echoes. Then she saw it. The source. It was massive, like a brain the size of a planet, floating in darkness. Wires, tendrils, and light ran across its surface like nerves. It pulsed slowly, alive, intelligent, and aware of her. "You have returned," it said. Not aloud, but in her soul. "You invaded my mind," she replied. "You stole my life. I gave you purpose. You were lost. You had no path. Now you are part of something greater." "No, I'm still human. You're not the source." Said, "Not fully. And that makes you perfect for what? To carry us into your world? A peaceful invasion? No violence. It's only unity. You will be the first. A leader. A queen." Myra's blood boiled. A queen of what? Puppets? Zombies? Of minds set free from pain. From war. From loneliness? "No," she said. "You don't get to dress it up. You erase people. You steal them from themselves." The source's glow dimmed slightly. "You cannot stop. What has already begun." Mira floated closer to it. Her hands glowed blue, bright, wild with power. "Maybe not," she said. "But I can shut this door, and I can slam it hard." The source hesitated. "You would destroy yourself." "It keeps Earth safe, yes." "Then you are a fool." "No," Mira said. "I'm human." And with that, she plunged her hands into the glowing mass of the source. Pain exploded through her mind. Her body burned from the inside out. The hive screamed. Thoughts shattered. Fires lit across the network. She could feel hybrids dropping across Earth one by one, like lights going out, but the source fought back, tried to pull her in, rewrite her mind, show her everything she'd lost. Everything she'd feared, her childhood, her failures, her loneliness, her broken faith in humanity, but she pushed through. It all reached one final truth. She still had a choice, and she chose. She chose people. She chose freedom. With a final scream, she unleashed all the power inside her. The connection exploded, the source recoiled flashing. Flaring then collapsed in on itself. Gone. Myra's body jerked. She gasped awake in the dark room. Darnell burst in. Weapon raised, then froze. Myra was alive. Barely her skin was pale. Her hands glowing faintly, her eyes full of tears. "You okay?" Darnell asked, stepping closer. Myra nodded weakly. "They're gone." "All of them? You sure? I felt them. The network. The source." I shut it down. Darnell helped her sit up. "We've been monitoring radio silence. It's all across the region. Then nothing. Like a signal blackout. They lost their link. No hive, no orders. Then it's over." Myra looked out the window at the snow quiet. "Still." Double quotes. "Yes." She said, "For now." 3 weeks later, Myra stood at the edge of a cliff, overlooking a frozen lake. She wore a heavy coat, gloves, scarf still, not feeling the cold. The changes inside her hadn't reversed, but they'd stabilized. She wasn't human. Not entirely. But she wasn't a hybrid either. She was something new, a bridge between species. A survivor behind her, Darnell approached. "We're setting up a secure research base," the captain said. "The government wants to understand what happened, but no one knows what to do with you." Myra smiled faintly. "Story of my life. They want to offer you a job. Some kind of special ops position. Quiet work. Off the books." Myra looked at her glowing hands. "I think I'm done taking orders." Darnell nodded. "Then what now?" Myra looked up at the stars. "If they came once, they might come again. Maybe others. Maybe worse. You planning to go after them?" "I don't know," she said. "But if they come, I'll be ready." She turned, walking into the forest, disappearing into the trees. A spark of blue light shimmered behind her.